Welcome to New Horizons. I'm your host, Charissa Bloomberg. We have another exciting episode for you, sharing information and exciting stories, so please stay tuned. Remember, every week we host a whole list of experts that can help you through a whole lot of opportunities for retirement so that we can open doors to new horizons so that you can enjoy a full and rewarding new phase in your life. Today we have clinical psychologist Dorothy Hendricks. She is passionate about sharing genealogy. That is all about the genes. That's not the genes you wear, the genes in the body. And she will unpack how tracing the roots can make a great impact on your life. Let's hear what Dorothy Hendricks has to say.
Dorothy Hendricks, what a pleasure it is to have you here in my home. It's been quite a while since I've seen you last, but we were colleagues in a way at SEMA University.
We were.
Back in the way, they say, back in the day. So I know you're now in your psychological work with 33 schools, would you believe? And you still have this passion for genealogy.
Yes.
And it's genealogy that we want to focus on today, because I know to you it's something of immense importance. And when you were lecturing the students at SEMA, I could see how they came alive when they found out about their own heredity. Genealogy, of course, is the study of our life, of our families going back many generations. So what is it about genealogy that particularly excites you?
Rupert, I think it's the mystery of being human and the mystery of how our families and our cultures, even our faith perspectives, inform much of who we actually are. And what I love about the study of your own roots and your own background is that it provides some input that helps you to make sense of who you are. For example, in my profession as a psychologist, we all battle with some aspect of being human or being in relationship. And sometimes the answers or the insights to those challenges that we have are to be found actually in our backgrounds. And if one approaches the study of your background and your roots from the perspective of honoring, then I think it's even more significant. Usually when I do study or I do teach the genealogy, I would insist even one-on-one to people that I'm seeing that one of the important rules is that you treat with utmost respect and dignity whatever you're going to encounter in your story.
Okay, well, I think that's so important. The other thing that strikes me, what happens when you're with someone who really doesn't know much about their genealogy?
You know, this is becoming a growing dynamic in our country, particularly, you know, as, for example, the Department of Social Development has to often take children away from a neglected situation and put them either in foster care or open to adoption. And many of those children often don't know their backgrounds. Of course, when they're much older, many adopted children and adults, for example, would then do an investigation because it burns on their heart to know more. And so even if you don't, for example, know specific details about your own biological mother or biological father, there's still a community that is able to provide some kind of input.
The community where you grew up.
That's right, yeah.
And I suppose through that means you can trace a pattern going back a generation anyway, maybe more.
Yes.
So you can get a feeling of where you came from, your
That's
roots,
right.
which
That's
is
right.
so important.
Yeah.
I know at Siba you used to use the board
Yes.
to draw people's genealogy.
That's right.
And in fact, you have a sample here in front of you, don't
I have a sample,
you?
yes.
Could you just show us what you have there, because it gives an
Sure.
idea of how you work this.
So, for example, and we'll give one to the
I'm
screen.
calling you on the wrong way. There we are.
That's right. So, for example, this is how a student or a person would begin finding information about their family. So, if you imagine a mother and a father holding hands like this,
Yes.
the down line is a mother or father or two lovers, two
Yes.
people who parent
Here
a
you
child.
have here the top two there.
That's right. So this was the main person here, Nkosazana, and this would be her father here.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a number 1 here.
Yeah.
Zukisa was the first wife. Mother Farai was the second, and Setunia is the third wife.
Mm-hmm.
So what is interesting is this man here, Melasizwe, who's the father of this client here, doesn't know his father. So we just put a question mark there.
Yes.
This squiggle line here means that there's quite a conflictual relationship.
I see. That's
and
what it means.
quite a strong line like this here means there's a very strong bond.
Mm-hmm.
So even if Nkosazana doesn't know why her father doesn't know his own father,
Yeah.
she is able to see that here was a conflictual relationship. And what is important is not necessarily to know the facts,
Mm-hmm.
but Nkosazana, for example, could ask quite significant questions. If you notice here, for example, father
Yeah.
Melasizwe had quite a severe relationship
That's a
with
trouble. That's kind of a
that's
trouble,
right.
that ziggy-zag, isn't it?
with wife number 1.
Yeah.
But if you look at his relationship with wife number 2 and wife number 3, they have a very good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
These two wives get on very well. Now, of course, this is by decision.
What did you say again, by decision?
This is by decision because many people are now in multiple relationships or multiple parent
Mhm.
relationships
Mhm.
where their own parent is in another relationship or one father has many children, for example.
Mhm.
And for Nkosazana to know that, listen, you're two wives who get along well,
Mhm.
is something that she can build on in
Gives
her
us
own
a certain
relationships
stability,
as well.
feeling.
That's right. For older people such as yourself, you would need to go, for example, to records, for example, baptismal records, or to
Mhm.
your spiritual kind of background to
Yeah.
find out, because a lot of information is often in churches or temples or the rabbi's father.
Mhm.
There's many details about us from elder people.
Mhm.
What is important to know, though, is that all of life is actually part of the same.
Mhm.
You know, many times people live as if, well, I'm going to die anyway one day.
Doesn't
So
matter.
it doesn't really matter to get to know my background.
Yeah.
But if you, for example, Rupert, say you began now engaging your own background and discovered, but gosh, look at this, I never knew that my great-grandfather was regarded as the main elder in the community there. And even though, I'm making this up of course, but even though, say, he was the shoemaker, he played a particular role. My grandfather was a shoemaker and was not an educated man.
Right. Dorothy, it's fascinating, but I have my eye on the clock and I know our time is running out.
Sure.
We could go on here for all afternoon,
Yes.
I know. But it's so useful to me to have you instruct me in this way, show me the values. And for younger people, of course, it's all there. So thank you for being on the program. It's been a great pleasure and lovely to see you again after quite a long time.
Thank you.
Okay, Dorothy.
That was clinical psychologist Dorothy Hendricks talking about genealogical research. We are going to take a short break, so please stay tuned because we've got exciting more information for you. back. If you've just joined us, before the break we spoke to Dorothy Hendricks, who spoke about tracing our own genealogy. Right, now we're going to move to another topic. We're talking about Soil for Life. They are a non-profit organization that helps communities and individual homeowners grow healthy organic food using affordable, environmentally friendly methods. Let's take a closer look.
Soil for Life started in 2002, and we are an NGO based in Constantia, but our core work that we do are out in the informal settlements, in the rural areas, where we teach people how to grow their own organic vegetables. So it's home food gardening that we are doing. And also at our resource center in Constantia, we also do many courses here, workshops taking place. So it's not just out in the field. With all these sicknesses and people being unwell and malnourishment taking place in the various communities that we see happening in our communities, I would strongly, and we believe at Soil for Life, that every person can do their own gardening. So we go out there teaching them, giving them the skills as how to grow their own organic vegetables, and we do that in groups of 15 to 20 people. But also, the main reason why we're doing that, there's a lot of hunger out there in our communities. There's people are ill because of not eating, or not being able to eat the amount of nutrients and minerals that is needed, for the body to function properly. And you also find a lot of illnesses like diabetes, cancer, HIV/AIDS, and this is because of people are not getting enough nourishment to feed their bodies. And we believe in the skills and techniques that we are teaching them, that everybody can start their own gardens, even in the smallest of smallest space they can do that, and we encourage people to actually do that, also to become self-sustainable, to be able to give their families a healthy, nutritious, organic, vegetable meal to just enjoy with their families. And yes, some people think that you must have space. No, you don't need big space. You can do it in the smallest of spaces, because that is where we teach the areas that we are working in. People don't have big grounds, so you can have your garden in a container, simple thing like a tile, or the back of old television set, pallets that has been put together to make a crate. So there's various ways, lots of things. And the main thing is we teach them how to recycle and reduce and reuse the things that they already have at home, like a ice cream bucket, that you can use to actually make a seed box. And you get that, from that you get your seedling. And from transplanting that into a crate even, they can have a full vegetable for themselves and enjoy. We have 3 cycles a year. And recruitment goes either out where the trainer or the will go out, the assistant trainers will go out and either do door-to-door knocking, recruiting people via social media, the newspaper, local newspapers, clinics. And that is how they actually recruit the people for their groups. And from there they will train 15 to 20 people, which is a cycle of 12 weeks. And we supply them with a starter kit, which just contains the little bit of compost. We give them the seeds and the mulch to actually start their garden. But in the same time, we will educate them how do they source the materials out there. And the areas that we are currently training in is Mitchell's Plain, which is like Westridge, Portlands and Rocklands inclusive. We have the CPOA in Westridge, that is also part of our home gardening program. We have Kavda, Steenbok and Retreat, Delft, Umfeleni, Driftsands, Kailicha, which covers Harade, Makaze, Kiasa. We do have a registration cost, which is 15 Rand per person, which is just a once-off fee. Really registration, and for that, you know, the value of the material that you are getting is more than 2,000 Rand, and that is your start kit to start your garden. So for that 15 Rand, you get so much. You can start your garden from seed box to digging a trench to harvesting and seed saving. That's all inclusive of the 12 weeks that they are on this entire program. And then we also have a follow-up and support structure, which happens after these people have been trained. So that is quite important, you know, is to help walk along with the home gardener and accepting in their garden and maintaining their garden to the best of their ability. And we are only using organic materials. And when I say organic, I mean from fertilizers and pesticides, preparing the soil, it is organic. So we do not use any chemicals on our vegetables. Remember that we are going to be eating these vegetables. And chemicals is toxic and it's not good for our bodies. And we are wanting people to be healthy. And therefore, after they have attended the workshops, including whether you're a home gardener or you're just one of the community members, we do have health and well-being workshops that's happening out in our communities. And there we encourage people to come because we talk about various things, including health matters, including preparation of vegetables which they have in their own gardens, is how they can prepare a meal. And it's all about exercising and just simple techniques that we're teaching these people is to add value to their lives in these health and well-being workshops, which is happening in 4 different communities. At our resource center in Constantia, we have various workshops that are taking place. It's short workshops, which are 2 hours long. But for those workshops, you have to book at our office number, which is, you know, a lot of people love gardening, but some are just interested in maybe soil preparation, or they want to know how to grow seedlings. They maybe want to know how to make compost. They may be just interested in pest control. So these are all the various workshops that are taking place at our resource center, and they can just call our landline and book for those workshops. You need to book, and then just call our landline and they will be directed and then to the various departments. And also we have a Grow to Live workshop. That workshop happens once a month. Our last one will be happening in 2 weeks' time, which is a full Saturday and a Sunday. Now those workshops are mainly for people, or I would say anybody that are interested in gardening. People you find that are working, you know, they love to garden, but they don't have all the knowledge. So that workshop runs a full Saturday and a Sunday, and those workshops also you need to book for that workshops, which is again 021 7944 982. Also you can go onto our website and there's also information available as how to book onto the Grow to Live workshops. You can contact our office, which is on 021 7944 982. You can also get us on our website, which is www.soilforlife.co.za. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll have a lot more to tell you. Welcome back. The show is loaded with lots of information and tips that we're sharing that you can use in your everyday life. The University of the Third Age, known as U3A, is a unique organization that provides life-enhancing and changing opportunities for older citizens. The New Horizons team met with Sylvia Shri and 2 of her regional chairpersons who will be unfolding this initiative. Let's take a look.
Well, U3A is a voluntary organization, international, and its purpose is to provide stimulation and socialization to senior citizens. By senior citizens, we mean people in their third age, the first age being youth and education, the second age being one's years working and with responsibility for a family, and the third age is the time you have for yourself to do all the things you wanted to do previously and couldn't manage. It started in South Africa. It started at the millennium, and that's nearly 17 years ago, and it spreads around the country. In South Africa, we have nearly 30 U3As, about a third of them around the Cape, or around Cape Town. In the Cape area, we've got Cape Town itself, which is a misnomer because it's really southern suburbs, but it was the first. And then Tygerberg, Blouberg, Helderberg, Overberg, Athlone, False Bay, Atlantic Seaboard, Greyton, Paarl, and the newest one is Gugulethu. Most U3As meet in plenary once a month in their general meetings. Courses are held wherever we can, largely in members' homes. If they get too big for that, we move to public facilities like library activity rooms, community halls, and we also make good use of the public rooms of retirement villages as meeting places for the courses. You fill in an application form and you pay the annual subscription, which varies between about 30 and 60 Rand a year, and after that it's almost free, 5 Rand per session for courses, and that mostly includes a cup of tea and a biscuit.
Well, it depends very much on the U3A. Now, we are lucky in Cape Town because we are one of the bigger ones. So we offer about 70 courses during the month. You know, some once a week, some once a month. And they range from scientific, like natural history, and environmental topics. We then have the languages, Afrikaans, German, French, Italian, isiXhosa, conversational or learning, and literature and history. And then we also have a number of DVDs on ballet and opera. And we have an orchestra, which has just started. And we also have practical works, for example, painting with acrylics. And we're going to have talks on art, etc. So there's a very wide range. The one thing we do not offer is cutting-edge latest technology or science, because most of our members would not be able to cope. Yes, so it's a very wide range. And of course, we also have activities like walking and circle dancing, and we're now going to have Tai Chi, yoga, and Qigong. I'm not quite sure the pronunciation, so there's a lot to offer, a wide range. Well, for the courses, the cost is usually 5 Rand, unless, of course, more material is needed. For example, if you are painting, then obviously you have to get the paints, which can work out a bit expensive. And for our general meetings, most of our meetings are in public places. And we do not pay our course leaders, it's all voluntary, though obviously they're they can take their expenses. And for our speakers at our general meeting, again, in Cape Town, we don't pay them, but we give a donation in their name to a charity. And if they've written books, they're allowed to sell the books. So we do try very hard to keep costs down. Well, we do have a website, which I cannot remember at the moment, and we also advertise in the local papers. And so people are free to come to the general meetings, and there they can join. And certainly in Cape Town, they're free to come to the general meetings. We don't charge for those. And so there's always a way of finding out. And we do advertise also on the radio. Yes, we do our best to attract people.
Each U3A has what we call a speaker seeker, whose job it is to go and hound people to come and talk to us. So people make use of their own contacts. For instance, I chair Athlone. And at Athlone, we were fortunate enough this year to hound 2 of our homeboys to come and chat to us. So we were delighted to have Trevor Manuel talk to us. And we had Franklin Son talk to us. We also, in June, have a special Mandela month. And 2 years ago, the late Virginia Engel spoke to us. So it depends on the U3A concern and the ability of the speaker seeker to attract one. People in Cape Town, they have their own connections, and they have seen Peter Dirk speak to them, Tim Noakes, Judith February. We try to get speakers to match the kind of flavor and texture of the U3A in question, and they differ all over the peninsula and have different people, but they are all top class. At Athlone this year, we had an upcoming young author talk to us on Youth Day. And when we asked him particularly, what do you expect, what contribution do you think we can make? He was very clear. He said people in their mature years should actually share their life experience with young people so that they don't make the same mistake, and make inputs into their lives and to celebrate them really. I think at U3A, because of the wisdom that we have, we're also able to read what's going on. You know, somebody like me, in 1974, 1970, I was at school. And so the student youth uprisings was something I contended with. So we have to read what's going on in our country. I think at this point in time, our constitution is a threat. And we simply can't wring our hands and hope for the toolies of this world and the judiciary to make it better. We have a role to play. And I think that as older people, we have a role to play in our families. We should nurture people in our families, the young people, foster education, read to grandchildren, be creative. I think we also have a role to play in our communities, school governing bodies, community policing forums, ratepayers. We have a definite role to play there. And then when it comes to our country, I think the role will change depending on what's going on in the country. I think right now we have a role to play in terms of supporting NGOs who have a role to play. For instance, a group of us are going to help the Cradle of Creativity taking place in May. We volunteer there and, you know, foster the arts. I also think that institutions or projects like Save South Africa, perfect matchup for something that we can do. Paul Hoffman has spoken to some of the U3As. You know, he wants to set up an institute to fight corruption. These are all things that I think that we can and will do.
Unfortunately, that's all we have for you today. You can catch us on our social media page to leave us thoughts about today's episode, or you can actually call us on 021 4488 711. 4488 711. So remember that you're never too old to make a difference. And please join us next week. So until then, take care.
Hey,